What if the man you buried in your heart suddenly walked back into your life, not as a memory, but as a living truth? What if his return didn't just reopen old wounds, but threatened to change everything you rebuilt to survive? Heartland, Season 20. Episode 1 begins with a question that shakes the soul of the ranch and the family forever. Is Ty's return the miracle Amy has been praying for, or the storm that will finally break her and Lyndy apart? SEC. Heartland, Season 20. Episode 1 opens without noise, without answers, and without comfort. The ranch looks the same, but it doesn't feel the same. There is a heaviness in the air, a silence that feels deeper than usual, like the land itself is holding on to something unsaid. Amy moves through her daily routine with steady hands, but her eyes tell a different story. There is a distant look in them, as if part of her is somewhere else, stuck between the past she survived and the future she is afraid to imagine. She is strong, but this strength feels tired, earned through years of loss rather than peace. Lyndy watches her mother closely. She's older now, more aware, and asking questions Amy isn't sure how to answer anymore. Questions about her father, questions about why his name still changes the mood of the room. Amy answers gently, carefully choosing words that protect her daughter but also protect herself. The truth has always lived just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. Around the ranch, the family feels it too. Jack pauses longer when he looks down the driveway. Lou catches herself thinking about the past more than she wants to admit. Even Tim, hiding behind his usual sarcasm, seems unsettled, as if something he never prepared for is approaching fast. No one says it out loud, but everyone feels it. Something unfinished is coming back to Heartland. The episode takes its time, and that patience is intentional. Heartland understands that before changing everything, it must remind us why these characters matter so deeply. This isn't about shock. It's about emotional truth. The pauses are longer. The conversations feel heavier. The memories linger. Ty's return is not announced. It is felt. And by the end of this section, one thing becomes painfully clear. The life Amy built without Ty is about to be tested in ways she never prepared for. And once the past steps back into the present, nothing will ever be simple again. If you want, next I can continue with Section 2, keeping the same tone, suspense, and emotional depth DOWS. The moment Ty returns is not loud or dramatic. It doesn't come with music or celebration. It comes quietly, almost painfully so. Amy sees him before she truly understands what she's seeing. At first, she thinks it's her mind playing tricks on her, a memory breaking free when she least expects it. But then he speaks her name, and the world around her seems to stop breathing. Years of grief, strength, and buried emotion rise all at once, crashing into her chest without warning. Amy doesn't move right away. She stands frozen, caught between the woman she became after losing Ty and the woman she used to be when loving him felt safe. Her heart races, but her body stays still. This isn't reunion joy. This is shock, disbelief, and fear wrapped together. Ty looks different, older, worn down by time and regret, yet painfully familiar. His eyes carry the weight of everything he left behind. He doesn't step closer. He doesn't reach for her. He knows this moment isn't his to control. Lyndy senses the shift instantly. She watches her mother's face change, sees the tears Amy never planned to cry again. When Lyndy looks at Ty, she doesn't see a stranger, but she doesn't see a father either. She sees a question, a mystery she's lived with her entire life, suddenly standing right in front of her. The silence between them is heavy, filled with emotions no one knows how to name yet. Ty's return doesn't feel like closure. It feels like an open wound exposed to air after years of careful healing. Amy's strength is tested in a new way. She isn't breaking down, but she isn't protected anymore either. Every step she took to rebuild her life now feels fragile. Ty's presence forces her to face a truth she's avoided for years. Surviving without him was one battle, but facing him again may be even harder. As the family slowly becomes aware of Ty's return, the ranch fills with tension. No one knows what this means yet. Is he here to stay? Is this temporary? Or is this the beginning of something far more complicated? One thing is certain. Ty's return doesn't just reopen the past. It threatens the future Amy built for Lyndy. And the choice she makes next could either heal them both or change them forever. Ty's return doesn't belong to Amy alone. It sends shockwaves through the entire family, each person reacting in their own guarded way. Jack sees Ty with quiet eyes, filled with memory and understanding. He doesn't rush forward or demand answers. Instead, he studies Ty like someone reading a familiar story that suddenly has new pages added to it. Jack knows this moment isn't about judgment. It's about whether Ty is finally ready to face the people he loves without running away. Tim reacts differently, as expected. His first response is sarcasm, a sharp edge meant to protect him from emotions he doesn't want to admit are still there. He questions Ty's timing, his intentions, and his right to step back into Amy and Lyndy's lives. But beneath the harsh words is something deeper: respect, concern, even relief. Tim never stopped believing Ty cared. What he never believed was that Ty would come back strong enough to face the damage he left behind. Lou stands firmly between her sister and the unknown. She has watched Amy rebuild herself piece by piece. She has helped raise Lyndy, made sacrifices, and carried responsibility when Amy could barely stand. So her reaction isn't anger, but caution. Lou wants answers, not promises. She wants to know why now, and whether Ty understands the cost of reopening a life that finally found balance. Still, when she watches Ty interact with Lyndy, something in her softens. She sees honesty, fear, and regret, not manipulation. Georgie's reaction is quieter but powerful. She remembers Ty as someone who believed in her when she doubted herself. She doesn't hold on to resentment. Instead, she approaches Ty with emotional maturity, acknowledging the past without letting it control the present. Her calm becomes a reminder of what Heartland stands for: growth, forgiveness, and choosing compassion even when it's hard. As night falls, the ranch feels different. Not broken, but unsettled. Ty's presence forces everyone to confront emotions they thought were settled long ago. The family isn't fighting, but they aren't at peace either. They're standing at a crossroads, unsure which direction leads to healing and which leads back to heartbreak. And in the middle of it all stands Amy, realizing that loving someone again may be the most dangerous thing she's ever faced. When Amy and Ty finally speak alone, there is nowhere left to hide. No family watching, no distractions, just two people standing in the space where their love once lived. The silence between them is heavy, filled with years of things unsaid. Ty doesn't rush to explain himself. He knows excuses would only make things worse. Instead, he speaks carefully, admitting the truth Amy deserves to hear. Leaving broke him. Every day away from her and Lyndy felt like a punishment he could never escape. He tells her that coming back wasn't about comfort, it was about facing the damage he caused. Amy listens without interrupting, but every word hits deep. When she finally speaks, her voice is calm but raw. She tells him how she survived after he was gone, how she learned to be strong because she had no other choice, how she raised Lyndy alone, carrying grief while pretending to be okay for her daughter's sake. She admits something that scares her more than anger. She never stopped loving him. That love just changed, becoming quieter, buried under responsibility and pain. Ty doesn't ask for forgiveness. He doesn't ask for a second chance. He asks for honesty. He asks if there is even the smallest space left for a future, not built on who they were, but on who they are now. Amy can't give him an answer. Not yet. She tells him some wounds don't heal quickly, and some love stories can't be rushed back to life. But she also doesn't shut the door. She admits their story feels unfinished. They part without certainty, but with something just as powerful: hope mixed with fear. Ty walks away knowing he may never get what he wants, but grateful he finally faced the truth. Amy stands alone, realizing the life she worked so hard to protect is now standing on fragile ground. And the choice she makes next won't just affect her heart, but Lyndy's future forever. That uncertainty is what makes this return so powerful. Because in Heartland, healing is never simple, but it is always worth fighting for.